Okay. This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. Notice of this meeting was sent to the Cape May Star and Wave and the Atlantic City Press, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and has remained continuously posted as the required notice under the statute. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Would everyone please rise for the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Jim Barnes. George Dick.
Here.
John Fusco.
Here.
Allison Morgan. Paul Mulligan. Kevin O'Neill.
Here.
Tom Richard.
Here.
Lisa Rosselli.
Here.
Carol Sabo.
Here.
Ryan Griffin. He's absent. Carol Ray Flynn.
Present. Yeah, first item of business is the review of the tentative 2026 meeting dates. Has everyone had a chance to look at that? I think you got an email. And no, you. Anyone see any conflicts or problems?
Nope.
Quick one. Double check. Yes. A week early.
Yeah.
Everybody would be there next Tuesday.
Yeah.
The 6th. Yeah, they are. Yeah, 7th. Without
A
that.
little different, yeah.
Wow, maybe it's the 7th. Yeah. That's super late. Does anyone want to make a motion to approve?
We don't. It's just a courtesy review. We'll approve.
Oh, we don't have to. Oh, we are. Right, okay. So,
Just a courtesy.
yeah, maybe just take it and double check your everything, you know. All right, cool. Which brings us to our next item, and that is the master plan reexamination. Yeah. Anyone didn't bring their copy? Have a copy. Extra. This is not a final document, but we have a couple extras if anyone wants to,
What was the last revised?
excuse me?
When was the
Yesterday.
last revision?
Yesterday.
Well, then I don't have that.
Change. All right, so, I went through my document, and I know, George, you had that in advance and went through the whole thing, so I'm going to skip all the way up to where my changes start,
Page 26.
and that's exactly where my change, now, hang on, let me just look at one. Yes. So, I'm gonna go right to the top of the page, which is objective number 4. And we made a couple changes to this on our conference call and did not get through to Matt. Yes. So the objective remains the same, identify supplier of safe water. However, in the paragraph, we had added a sentence and say, this is no longer an issue. And then we added a sentence that says, West Cape May continues to receive a reliable source of water from Cape May City.
Yeah, that sentence needs to be added.
Right, and then, the desalinization plant is scheduled to be upgraded for Cape May City over the next 3 years. We don't need both of those sentences. It reads 40. 26. So it would say Cape May City will continue, the desalinization plant is scheduled to be upgraded for Cape May City over the next 3 years. That's the only change.
Yeah, basically that will, over the next 3 years.
Right, but it doesn't need to say Cape May City will be upgraded twice. See how the two sentences are almost the exact same
The
thing?
capacity will be upgraded, that's what they're saying.
So the desalinization is scheduled to be upgraded for Cape May the desalination is scheduled to be upgraded with
For reliable drinking water. Will be upgraded. The capacity will be increased.
okay, hang on, availability. How about and capacity will be increased? And capacity will be increased.
They will also
Capacity will
upgrade theory.
also be upgraded, is that what you said?
Yeah,
Well,
also
capacity will be upgraded.
So it'll be, okay,
The desal plant is scheduled to be upgraded and the capacity will increase in the next 3 years.
scheduled to be upgraded.
Yeah.
Input for Cape May City.
Right.
I'll clean that up, and put that other sentence in and,
If your plan is to tentatively adopt the master plan, not adopt it, but you're supposed to tentatively agree on the form. And then that's the form that's put available for notice for the hearing when you adopt it. So you need to be very specific about what it is you're tentatively adopting, so you can't, I know you mean by clean it up, but I think tonight you got to take.
The grammar.
we're gonna fix it right now
I understand.
and get on
I'm
that.
not talking about this particularly, I'm saying in general, we can't just run through and read what the sentences are gonna say. So the record's clear on what it is that you're approving as the tentative approval. So after you have this dialogue with each other, stop and read exactly what it's going to say in the revised form.
That's where I need to write in.
Okay, good.
Because these are the pages that are going to go to.
The sentence about West Cape May continues to receive a reliable water network.
Source from Cape May City. That was missing, we had added that.
Or reliable source of water from Cape May City.
It's right there. Okay.
Will increase.
Increase.
Will increase. One. See,
I don't
I don't think we should say over the next 3 years, because we have no idea when they're gonna go. with that.
That's what they
It could be, it could become, it's not gonna move forward, but it could.
So we should say at the beginning of that sentence, per Cape May City, that's what they're telling us it's gonna happen.
You want the next 3 years in there?
No, I said, per Cape May City, the desal plant is scheduled to be upgraded. Yeah, it's scheduled to be upgraded and capacity
I got it.
will increase.
All right, so I'm gonna read that entire paragraph. regarding identifying, supplier of safe water. This is no longer an issue. West Cape May continues to receive a reliable source of water from Cape May City. Per Cape May City, the Dow desalination plant is scheduled to be upgraded and capacity will increase. Period. How about will be increased? Will be increased. Period. B. You think we'll charge us more for that extra work? Okay, everybody, if you go down to 6 and 7,
So
that was supposed to be,
paragraph, those, that sentence is saying that.
So the accepted,
Except as
noted.
those above.
except, yes, that stays.
Okay.
Sorry. Number 6 states, number 7 was supposed to be completely removed.
So it was removed on the original portion of the document.
Yes, but they missed this
They
one.
didn't do that, and then everything needs to be renumbered out.
Right, so everything after number 7 has to be renumbered. The last number in this section should be 49, not 50, just as it is in the beginning section. That was just something they missed.
Chairman, before you go back to page 25 for a second.
Sure.
They did not change objective number 1 first sentence,
Hang on,
which should say as appropriate at the end of that sentence.
hang on. No, we can't change that. And that's what they did.
Oh, because that was the original, that's what.
Yes.
That's-
Because I had that on my notes,
Yeah.
too, so, major bill.
Yeah.
Okay, I do wanna fix, okay, we got West Drive, but I do wanna fix Stimson spelled wrong over and over again, even though it's in one. Okay, so that moves us on to page 27. And we missed something here, they missed something here. On page 27. All the way down to the final sentence regarding the protection of marshes, the borough has evaluated this issue through
Which-
ordinance. That's,
Which objective is that?
this is the very top of page 27, and it's objective, it's on the other page, objective 9. The sentence was supposed to read, and we missed this. It was supposed to read, and this is what we changed. Regarding the protection of marshes in relation to pool drainage, the borough has evaluated and addressed this issue through ordinance, period. That's what that's what it's supposed to say.
Correct.
That's an additional, that's an additional sentence, right?
No, it's just this sentence, regarding the protection of marshes.
Objective number 9.
Yes,
About the last.
last sentence right here.
Right
They
above
missed our
the
changes right here. They missed our changes that we made on our conference call. Regarding the protection of marshes in relation to pool drainage, the borough has evaluated and addressed this issue through ordinance, period.
The rest is still.
So that whole section, that whole sentence or that paragraph just applies to pool drainage. That statement.
Just that sentence.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. And that was the only one I had on 27. George?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay, page 28. Objective 14, emphasize limited utilization of open space with strategy, including conservation of borough-owned property, but not limited to such. So, that's fine. In fact, they caught that. Page 2026, further down the page. Okay. That page. Okay.
Yeah.
page 29. Even though it's the previous master plan, strategic objective.
So,
It's Broadway Stimson, not Broadway.
Right, hang on.
Stims.
But did you read the previous master plan strategic objective 21 in the beginning section doesn't match this one? No page in the beginning. 14. Aren't each of those objectives supposed to match the previous?
well, it's an objective, it shouldn't,
But it doesn't. Oh, the numbers are different. Hang on.
Yes, this is one.
So broad learning.
Yeah, that,
I got it. Thanks.
21 you're looking at is 20 in the front section. Remember, we just changed.
So it needs that, so we're gonna go back to page 13 and make that, we're gonna correct those street names while we're at it, even though it's
Yep.
previous mistake, so it's gonna say Broadway. This is page 13,
Mhm.
Broadway,
Number 20.
comma, Stimson, spelled correctly. We're gonna do that on page 13. And we're gonna do that on page 29. And it's just a housekeeping. We might as well correct it while we're.
Mhm.
Lisa, do we have to do these sort of little editorial tweaks, or can we just tell them these are the street names, these are the proper spellings, just do find and replace throughout the document?
Yeah.
So that way
I think this is the only place in the document
Okay,
that I've noticed any. It's okay. No one complained about it over the past 5 years. Panic. Grammar police. Okay, that brings us to page 30. And the third bullet point down under master plan objective 25 gets a period at the end of the sentence. Sorry, it was a proofreader in magazine. I text with corrected punctuation. I did. I don't use any of those shorties. That, and
she's not gonna explain.
okay, I don't have anything until page 5. And we had added, this is under sustainability, this is 3.2 recommendations from the 2015 reexamination report. This is for the bottom center of the page. We had added each zone should be evaluated with regard to multifamily properties. And Matt did manage to get that in, however, that should be its own bullet point. And that's one of the most important things in the document, probably. It shouldn't be stuffed on the end of green roofs. Do you agree? You see that last
Yeah, I agree
sentence?
with that.
Excuse me?
I
Yeah,
agree
it
with that.
should be some
It
bullet.
should be some bullet. It
And it
doesn't-
should be way up
it's nothing.
toward the top.
Well,
It can be at the bottom, it doesn't.
It doesn't matter.
it's sensible,
So
It's a
it'll
separate
be,
paragraph.
okay,
say we're addressed, spot on, there, but
stay again?
addressed, the verb addressed, spot on, basic.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna change address to addressed. Second bullet point. If the borough has, flyers out there in the lobby, public education charts.
Lisa, can you go back to the first change or
Yes,
where you were breaking it? Where?
at the very, at the bottom of the bullet points, there's a green roofs has two separate bullet points.
And then the last sentence
The
of
last-
that paragraph.
The last sentence of that paragraph is something we added because we want to relook at all the zones with regard to multifamily dwellings.
So does that have anything to do with sustainability? Is it
Yes.
even in the right section?
Yes,
Okay.
I mean, it probably fits into a few places in the
Yeah.
code, but this is where it got put.
I don't know whether there should be more if it said.
It's pretty important. It's one of the main things in the,
Does anybody have any additional language they could add about that?
it was one of the main things that came back in our surveys that people were concerned about overdevelopment. Too much in too little of a space. This allows us to go back and look at these, we've been talking about duplexes in lots smaller than 75 feet. This would be where we would say, well, our re-exam is instructing us to go back and look at this in regards to the different zones.
So this would encompass everything from limiting tear downs, replacements, where duplexes could be situated, what a duplex even is, all of that?
This is more like where, for example, in zone 4, duplexes are not allowed
Right.
at all. Single-family homes, farms, basically. They are allowed in other zones, and so there's 3plexes and 4plexes, but we want to re-examine with regard to each zone, how small of a lot or how big of a lot you need to do. For example, take a single-family home and have a duplex.
I think we also still have to resolve the issue of what a duplex is.
That's not for this, but.
We don't want to include that in the master plan someplace or in re-examination, so that's,
I think that
we have
comes,
the ability
I
to
mean,
do it.
tell me if I'm wrong, but I think that comes under just,
Human,
What's that?
did you have something to add about that?
Yeah, this is like a very high level, it's like 30,000 foot level, so you don't wanna get, you can mention something that you're investigating duplex, in each, the residential zones, something.
we made it more general with regard to
You know-
multifamily property.
Yeah, I think it's more so, discussion was about. I don't know what the word is for,
Fourplex.
fourplex, is
Yeah.
that fine? Okay. We certainly have had some robust conversation about that, triplexes.
That's why we generalized to multifamily. It's something we really need to get right on, is looking at these zones and.
Right.
I mean, it's critical at this point.
Yeah, as long as it allows for that.
But it should be its own, we're just saying it should be a bullet point, it's a very important
Yeah.
point in this document.
It was just run into that paragraph.
Yeah, I get that.
So,
It has literally nothing to do with green roofs.
Right.
Unless it's a fourplex with a green roof. Which I think the kind of people that build fourplexes don't really care about green roofs. As far as I can. All right. So that was what I had on that page. Anything you want?
I think the question I put out there to all the members was if they had any additional language about that to kind of reiterate the importance of this. And just kind of, I don't want to put words in for nothing, but I think it's important to,
I think it's the same thing, it's the 30,000 level of the things that need to be talked about. I mean, I don't,
but
He means if you make it too specific,
you don't wanna make it specific. you wanna make it general, so it encompasses.
I didn't know whether there was any more emphasis needed in the language, that's all.
Unless you want to put, multifamily properties and put in parentheses duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes. Do you want to do that?
It's just trying to reiterate the importance of it, that's fine, if we all think it's fine, it's fine. This one,
Hey, we're not professional. So, do you want to add those in? I mean, that's an easy.
no,
Yeah,
no.
okay. So, I think Matt missed a sentence on page, well, it's now on page 37. And it was, 4.2 land use or ordinance amendments, sustainability recommendations. I believe we had agreed to add this sentence. After this paragraph, which aim to address climate change and rising sea level issues that will affect West Cape May's zoning ordinance. I believe, George, you might have written this sentence and we went over it.
Which page are you on?
I'm looking at 37.
Okay. Under 4.2 and ordinance amendments?
Yes, and at the end of that one where it stops, Cape May zoning ordinance, period, you had added, or we had added, there are guidelines being proposed by DEP that may further limit and constrict development in the future. So I'm going to write that in here. So that goes after Cape May zoning ordinance, period. There are guidelines.
A sentence kind of says that, but under first.
Resilient environments and.
Yes.
I just think it puts it in very plain language, so.
Say that language in his head. Those guidelines are in the same, like, just so
I know.
we're repeating it with that sentence.
Well, we agreed to put it in, we're not.
But it's redundant. New Jersey DEP has proposed the resilient environments and landscape regulations. And so, and then to say there are guidelines that are proposed by DEP, that's saying the same thing.
That may further limit and constrict development in the future.
That's what the New Jersey.
That's what the ordinance,
It's
So we just don't need, you're gonna say that
That first sentence.
first sentence is,
the first sentence encompasses what needs to be said.
okay.
And
You don't have to-
because that's outside of our purview, but needs to be recognized that it could impact our zoning. You know,
Maybe. Okay, and,
and it could impact our zoning.
good. Well, I'm getting mixed up through these books.
Out there that we're interested what that means. I think a lot of you know about the real law that Governor Murphy proposed and was 5 feet, you had to build at a 5-foot level. And now it's got lowered to 4 under public comment, but I don't know if it's been implemented or not. It hasn't, but that would cause us to have to, our ordinance would be affected in how we could build. If we were building a new house, it would have to be 5 feet, and then the feet of floats and run over the house.
Forwards, right, all right.
They're 4 now, that's correct.
And there's more to it.
Yeah, it's not just that, but that's what that is in.
It's stopping. Sentence before. And stuff like that. This is what it's about. Yeah, I think that's been taken out in there. This is the latest, right?
Yeah, I know, but this is
The new
something that
draft.
we had talked about with Matt that didn't make it in. I was just checking to see if your notes had it.
He did that in the last section there. Correct.
This is,
It's 37, page 37, fine.
yeah,
That's correct.
we just had a sentence that said this is something that continues to need, needs to continue to be monitored. If we take that out,
Yes.
okay, fine. So there's no changes to our changes. Have anything else?
No, that's it. So that's the end of that section. The other stuff is.
There's no sentences. They're marked this, all these pages. So if we agree to tentatively approve this, regardless, I'm going to give Trish these couple of pages that we changed and have her get those to Benoni in the morning for a brand new clean copy.
Where, design recommendations.
Oh, I'm sorry, go back and mark these up.
Um, So
Page number?
38. Under the design recommendations, so when it says, so FAR should be established and FAR bonuses may be granted if the home incorporates design elements such as those listed above. I'm wondering what are the ones that are listed, design recommendations that are listed above. Front porches, the parking in the rear or to the side, and other architectural elements. Okay, I should have to say that out loud.
If you look at this enough, it doesn't become clear. Okay. Our entire changes to this document are on pages 13, 26, 27, 29, and 30. Those are the only changes that remain, otherwise. And the numbers, of course, once that one, number 7 is eliminated, this is a do, the numbers will change. Our final numbers on both the front section and back section will be 49. But those are the only changes, except for the change that, historic preservation that's in the current document. That was made yesterday.
One small change on page 38,
38,
page 38, second to last paragraph, as I reread it, the mayor brought it up. right in the middle of the second last paragraph, says this can be done by adjusting floor area ratio numbers. Should the sentence before that. I'm just gonna read it. We recommend amending the current setback and height requirements for residential zones to allow an appropriate amount of pervious area, addressing concerns about inappropriately scaled development as well as that and should be deleted as well
Right.
as, yeah. That
Don't have anything else. So what's our process here?
Let's just, you want to start generally about the process overall?
Yeah.
So I'm moving from section dash three of. Yes, and I'm reading from section 8-3 of the New Jersey Zoning and Land Use Administration, and I mentioned that not because I expect everyone else to read it, but for Trish's purposes, because at some point she's had to do the notices, and this is a good guide for that process. I hope, because there's some people you have to give notice to you might not expect, so you might want to, read that thoroughly. But first, what we're doing tonight is, although this is a re-examination, if you're making changes to the old master plan of the old re-exam, you have to treat it like a new master plan, you have to do the same notices, so, you follow the same process. So, the first is, tonight you're gonna tentatively, what it says here is the master plan is prepared and tentatively approved by the planning board. So you're tentatively approving it, it's not an approval, it's just something that lets the clerk know what to publish and what to make available in advance of the formal meeting, so the public can review what you're actually going to vote upon. Okay, so tonight you're basically approving what you're going to vote upon. Doesn't mean you have to vote the same way after you hear the public and after you get there and hear other thoughts, and you can change your mind, whatever, but you have to have something you will agree is going to be presented at the next meeting. Number two, establishment of a hearing date. The next step is to authorize a date for the holding of a public hearing on the adoption of the plan. So what you should do tonight is decide on what date you're going to have the hearing. Now, I'm sure you're going to give more than enough time, but you have to have the section 3 is on notices, and that's the part I direct the clerk's attention to, and everyone can help, as it comes down to it. But you have to notice the hearing in be published in the newspaper of general circulation, which should be our official paper, at least 10 days prior to the date of the hearing. You have to give a notice to the clerk of each adjoining municipality at least 10 days in advance. You have to give personal service and certified mail to the Office of Planning Advocacy and the County Planning Board, the military commander of a military facility which is registered within the community. I don't know if the Coast Guard is or not. I know they're keeping it, but they may not register here either. The notice of the Office of Planning, blah, 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 blah. That's just stuff. So, like I said, there's some things you might not, you gotta read this list and then do that. Okay, the public inspection, it needs to be just like a zoning board application, you have to have everything available to the government 10 days in advance. So you should have copies of that available and post it on the website. Offer to email it to people so you don't have to make 1,000 color copies. So if someone comes in, you can email it to them if they want a color version or whatever color you want to handle that. That's up to you. Technically, all you have to do is have it there for them to read. So that's the minimum you can do. That's what you want. Then you have a hearing. At the hearing, the public has to speak. They're supposed to treat like any other hearing, take a verbatim record. And then there's a vote. The voting has to be a majority of a quorum. Any restrictions on who votes, so I assume all the members are can vote. Not the alternates, but I mean, the mayor and mayors and VP can vote. And then after you adopt it, you have to give notice of the adoption. And there's a list of things you have to notice for, similar to the one you had to give notice in advance if you've noticed the adoption. Now, understand that a master plan is not a change to the ordinance. Okay? Your ordinance is supposed to be consistent with your master plan. So if there's things that are in your master plan that are different than the ordinance, then the governing body has to consider those things and perhaps propose ordinances to make it consistent, or you can propose that they take up certain ordinances to make it consistent. You're not, I listen to the changes, but I don't know every single change. They don't seem like things that are requiring immediate changes to the ordinance, at least not from what I heard. It's more goals and things like that. For example, the definition of a duplex, things like that, they might be things that you can propose later for specific changes to the ordinance. So if that's done later, you have to do adoption first. Okay? So 2 things tonight. 1, agree on what you're voting on next week, and 2, or next meeting, and 2, set the date for that meeting. Okay? And that should be done by a formal motion and then a vote. In my opinion.
Yeah.
First, is everyone clear on what you're presenting? You went through, I know some people in the audience had copies of it, but whatever those edits are, you need to get those to our consultant. Make sure he gets them all in there so that the thing that you're putting out for public notice is what you're actually going to hear at that meeting, so it doesn't mess us up. And just do that as soon as you can. So I think the motion is a motion to tentatively approve the master plan reexamination report that was given to you today, subject to the changes that were outlined during the meeting. And that's the one you're going to present for the public on the date that Trish is about to give us. Let's talk.
So, the next work session is going to be on November 18th.
It's not that far away. So you have to get the good copy from the consultant. You have to have that available, and you have to get the newspaper to publish the hearing date. In the time you can do it,
I don't anticipate, me taking all of those ads, and we get those to them first thing tomorrow morning. I'd be happy to come over and proof it as soon as you receive those. And
Yeah, typically, if I give Matt a deadline,
and I'll just come over and read through it and make sure that they were done the way we wrote it there. Sound good?
So to repeat that, it would be November 18th.
Public hearing.
Okay.
So people just left me aware. So, do we need
Motion.
a motion to?
Make a motion that we have a hearing on November 18th.
Statute one. Is it for that first or to tentatively?
I'll make the motion to for us to.
The motion I recommend you make is a motion tentatively approve the master plan examination report presented at tonight's meeting with the revisions to that report as outlined in the meeting. To be heard on November 18th at 6:30. Anybody want to make that motion?
I'll make that.
I'll second that motion.
I'll say.
Barnes,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Lucio,
Yes.
O'Neill, Richard,
Yes.
Fabo,
Yes.
Ray Flynn,
Yes.
Roselli,
Yes. Which, yeah, brings us to the public, portion of our meeting. If anyone from the public would like to come up and speak, this is your time. Just, please give your name, spelling, and your address. If there's anyone who would like to come up. Take your time.
Hi, Bill Ettinger, 315 Third, Oetinger. First, I'm married to a retired language arts teacher, and she would be thrilled with your attention to punctuation. On the part with the, and I didn't quite hear it, the piece about the spotted lanternflies, was the final verbiage we are addressing, because that's accurate. I wouldn't have it have addressed, because it's an ongoing concern.
It's been what I understand it being maybe somebody that's on the
It's
environment.
being addressed, it's present tense.
To the extent that the borough's able.
Right.
Been addressed. So whether you want to say it's ongoing, it's being addressed by individual property owners, but to the extent that the borough is addressing it as a borough-wide issue, I think that should be said.
I'm sorry, what was the last thing about
I
the
think
school?
we should-
It wasn't a spotted lanternfly.
Yeah, well, I think this is a, well, no, I mean, you know, we were able, thank you. We were able, when the issue regarding spotted lanternfly invasion came to, have some experts weigh in on it. We had the environmental commission doing all sorts of education. We were able to access a grant that, was able to to pay for some of the, spraying that people were interested in doing on their properties, and on borough properties.
The grant is still active.
The point was, this is ongoing, and I didn't know if this needed to reflect that.
Yeah, the issues, fly's not going away yet. I don't know what it's gonna look like next year. You know, how long is they, before they really, move into their next territory, that kind of thing. But this is, in terms of an element of a master plan.
Yeah, no, my only question was, should the master plan reflect that it's ongoing? It's a question, it's not a.
See if we can just make a subtle change to this sentence. We have the borough addressed spotted lanternfly invasiveness. What would we add to that?
We are addressing. I mean, it's-
Continues to adjust.
Continues to address spotted lanternfly.
Thank you.
We're just not sure how this became part of the master plan.
It's okay. Wait, no. Let me read it to you.
My fault.
No, so how about this? The borough continues to address spotted lanternfly invasiveness. Wow, that's great, cool. Thank you.
She's got her highlighter.
Ms. Matt, well, 35. Anyone else from the public? Okay, seeing none, we're gonna close the public portion and ask for privilege of the floor if anyone from the planning board has anything. Adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
So I will be happy.
I'm not going to.
That's what I was.
to 17 at once.
Yeah.
Wait, one second.